I had a bit of a self-indulgent gas bagging situation last week's show. I did get a couple of good DMs based on that. And who was it? I think it was the band said, thanks for sharing your USD out story this week. I got a lot of questions about how I did that. A lot of people have said, yeah, that's something I've been thinking about doing for quite a while. So yes, if you've been living under a rock and you weren't aware, I have over the last 18 months or so have aggressively downsized my accounts, and I managed to do that without destroying it. So I went from a high of 6,672 properties in October um, to now I've got 703 properties, and that's still dropping. I thought I was going to stabilize out a bit over 700, but it turns out some of those tiny collections, I'm flipping those willy-nilly too. So I think I'll probably stabilize probably about the 650 properties range. That's, of course, until the next city release happens. Just for a bit of extra context, in the last 8 months, I really started to focus on that kind of selling properties pretty heavily, and I managed to bank over 10,000 USD in those 8 months, which once you convert that to Australian dollars, that's pretty significant for myself and my family. So much so that we are celebrating as a family all on Upland money. We're celebrating that. We're going out and doing a few different things. If you're in the NBA server, I'll share some pics of that. It's going to be a bit of fun. So that's a family thing. And then the week after that, I'm doing a personal thing as well. That's all financed thanks to the awesome opportunities that are available in Upland. And especially, there was, because I've been around for so long, that was part of it as well. But anybody can pretty much do at least something similar or head in that direction. So as part of that last selling period, in the last month, I've also managed to stack 10 million UPX ready for the next city release. My dividends, I've maintained those. It's just under 1.8 million UPX a month, and that dropped from a high of a bit over 2 million UPX per month in December. So I've sold almost 6,000 properties, and I haven't destroyed my net worth. My net worth is now just under 113 million UPX, and that's down from a high of 158 million UPX, which was in January this year. So yes, how did I do it? How did I sell almost 6,000 properties in 18 months without destroying my account? It's pretty easy, really. I mean, it's a very time-consuming process, but I did pull up. I'll just use this as an example. I do have, which I shared last week. I've got a bit of a. I just ripped the data from UPX land, and I've been using, kind of little computer model or spreadsheet model to do it myself. So this just shows. I assume that's popped up for you. Let me check. Yeah. So what I've got here is another 52 properties that I'm willing to sell for. I've got another tab here, all my hodl properties. That's nodes, Metaventure properties, collections, yada, yada. So they're not to be sold, but I've still got all these 50-something properties here. So basically all I ever do is I go on and over to good old UPX land and say, I won't go back and share. So I've got a collection in the Liberdade neighborhood of Sao Paulo. All right, so all I do is go over property search, type in Sao Paulo status. I want to sell for USD. What did I say was Liberdade? All right, I always just check the floor. So I'll go sale price. Let's check out what the floor is there. The floor is $4 for USD. Okay, so let's compare that to the markup price. Markup is 62%. All right, if the floor is 62% and you want to sell quickly, at the very least, I would go down another 2%. Me personally, I'd probably list at 58%. So if we go back over to my spreadsheet here, all I do there is type in 58% there, and that automatically adjusts all of those figures. I go down to Liberdade, and I can check here. Now we can see this one, $2.82. That one is below the minimum, and it's below the floor. So if the floor, what do we say it was, $4? Well, I might list that for $3.50. Pretty good chance that one would sell. This one, I would sell that at the market price of $4.18. This one I'd sell it for $4.38, and the other one for $6.99. So that's pretty much it. Nothing very complex. All it is just playing with the floors, whether that be the USD floor, the UPX floor. I know some people have it in their head that they want to make a certain amount of money or a certain percentage, but the reality is the floors are the floor. If you can hate the floor, you can not agree with the floor. Of course, I would much rather sell all of my properties at 150% markup for USD, but it's just not the reality. So, especially if you've got so many properties to move, you just got to play with the hand that you're dealt. Now, I just for shits and giggles, I'm just going to have a quick look at Chicago. Because yeah, that was an interesting one where I thought I was going to end up with a couple of hundred properties that the mid price was too high to sell at the Chicago floor, and the for sale price was going to be too low to sell at the USD floor as well. So they were kind of no man's land properties. But then it turned out that the for sale UPX market floor was below 100%, and I went yippee, and there it still is. Look, dozens and dozens and dozens of properties below the markup floor in UPX. So right there, we've got the markup floor in Chicago for UPX is 88%. That's dropped down a bit. It was 90%. I sold, 250 properties in 2 days, listing them for 88% UPX. Why did I do that? Am I crazy? because technically you're losing money. Those Chicago properties, most of those I've held since Chicago had released. As I just outlined, my dividends are 1.8 to 2 million UPX per month. So that's not coming out of my bank account. I've stacked 10 million UPX ready for the next city release. That whole sell for under mid to stack for better opportunities in future. That's something I've been doing, and lots of members in the Upland community have been doing since way back in the early days of San Francisco. So yes, so it is doable. You can reduce your property portfolio. You can make big, massive changes like that without utterly destroying your accounts. And maybe just to put a bow in that, I'll just go back to there and just see what that actually looks like. So if we go back here, and I'll go back to me, 68 progress chart, same as what we looked at for Chow. My chart's a bit different, of course, because I've taken a whole bunch out. My properties, if you just look at my properties, it goes up there, as I said, the high in October and just drops off a cliff and still dropping, whereas my mint net worth and my property's net worth, of course, they've dipped, but yeah, nothing like some of the other graphs, like one of the graphs I showed last week as somebody who has truly cashed out of the game. So if you remember from last week as well, when I shared my neighborhood chart, and I said, why am I selling all these properties in Chicago? It's because I had so many properties in Chicago. Well, now it's flipped and I'm all in on San Francisco. The vast majority of those are mid-tier terrace, which I'm going to hold on to. 58 properties left in Chicago. They're basically all, I've got a full block in Portage Park that I'm going to hold on to. So that's about it. So if you're wondering how I did it, well, hopefully that answered your questions.